Welcome to the third edition of the Ultimate Fight Simulator, where I will be simulating upcoming fights in a Game of 3 series to determine my prediction for their real fight. And as you can see from the screen, I'll be doing the co-main event for UFC Long Island as number 12 UFC featherweight and former pipe fitter Darren Elkins takes on number 10 featherweight Dennis the Menace Bermudez. Long Island's Dennis Bermudez. The damaged Darren Elkins, who is coming off the biggest win of his UFC career, and the comeback story of the year, comeback performance, comeback of the year for sure. Well, heading into the second half of the year, over Mirsad Bektic at UFC 209 in March, taking on Dennis Bermudez, who's coming off a loss, a first round knockout loss to Chan Sung Jung, Korean Zombie, back in February at UFC Fight Night Houston. As you can see from the tail of the tape, Darren Elkins is the older, bigger, taller guy with the longer reach. And as you can see, he's using that to his advantage with his striking, which I believe he has the advantage of, and even drops him with a leg kick. But after a couple of stuffed takedowns, Dennis Bermudez manages to get back to his feet, get the underhooks, and take him down. Only for Darren Elkins to scramble to the top. Now, there's going to be a lot of scrambling in this fight, probably in real life as well, with their top-notch wrestling. But, Dennis Bermudez, it was all Dennis Bermudez in the first round as soon as he got it to the ground. He's the more athletic wrestler, the more accomplished wrestler. So, he's controlling Darren Elkins for most of the round. Dennis Bermudez, the Ultimate Fighter Season 14 finalist, made it all the way to the finals before losing to Diego Brandao in a surprise. Diego Brandao was the favorite, but, Dennis Bermudez, nearly knocked out Diego Brandao. But Diego Brandao threw up an armbar out of nowhere and just submitted Dennis Bermudez in a crazy fight. I believe it was fight of the night as well. Dennis Bermudez has 2 fight of the nights as well as 2 performance of the nights and a submission of the night. And he holds a win over Tetsuya Kawajiri, Clay Guida, and current UFC featherweight champion Max Holloway. It was a really close fight. I actually scored it for Dennis Bermudez. Apparently there was a lot of controversy, but I did score it for Dennis Bermudez, just like I scored Dennis Bermudez this first round, 10-9. Round 2 brought to you by Brittany Palmer. Once again, Darren Elkins winning on the feet. And like I said, he will have the advantage if he keeps it on the feet. He definitely has the potential to knock out Dennis Bermudez, who all of Dennis Bermudez's losses have been stoppages. So, Darren Elkins can definitely finish Dennis Bermudez, especially on the feet. But Dennis Bermudez doing what Dennis Bermudez does and takes his opponents down, and he takes Darren Elkins down and nearly catches him in an Americana, but Darren Elkins escapes and makes his way to the top. Darren Elkins is the much more experienced fighter, 22-5 in MMA, 12-4 in the UFC, 11-3 as a featherweight. Coming off that win over Mirsad Bektic, also holds a win over Godofredo Pepe and Chaz Skelly. Both fighters hold losses, have one similar loss, and that's to Jeremy Stephens. Maybe one day these two will, one or if not both of them will get their rematches with Jeremy Stephens. But for now, they'll take on each other, and Darren Elkins on top and in guard. But Dennis Bermudez once again scrambles and ends up on top. Darren Elkins, a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He can definitely hold his own on the ground. He's only been submitted, I think, once, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, but Dennis Bermudez on mount, and he's pounding him. Most of the shots are blocked, except for these ones. He could have knocked him out right there. if I was controlling Dennis Bermudez, that would have been over probably in the first round. I'm undefeated against computers, but against actual people, I'd probably lose. Oh, but Darren Elkins takes him to the ground. Darren Elkins has only been submitted once, and that was to Charles Oliveira, so there's no shame in that. And that loss, I believe that was a calf slicer. No, it was an armbar. It was a 41-second armbar. But third and final round, Darren Elkins, once again, down 2. Looking for another Cinderella story. Winning on the feet again. I think as the longer the fight goes, it's all Darren Elkins. And he takes him down. But Dennis is pretty athletic too. You know. So he definitely has the condition to go 3 rounds. Yeah, his fight against Diego Brando was a fight of the night. After that, though, he was on a 7-fight winning streak. Before losing to Ricardo Lamas and Jeremy Stevens, but he won 2 in a row after that, and then lost to Korean Zombie. Darren Elkins, he's on a 4-fight winning streak, and he's looking to continue that at the expense of Dennis Bermudez. Darren Elkins has fought the biggest name. He's got a pretty good resume on his hands. He just needs to, break into the top 10 and work from there. He's pretty close. I think he's a fight or 2 away from, being talked about in title contention. Oh, Dennis Bermudez taking Darren Elkins for another ride. Oh, only for Darren Elkins to take Dennis Bermudez for a ride. This fight, I don't think there's any way this fight can be a boring fight. I know they're two grinding wrestlers, but with all the scrambles they have, it's and trading positions, it seems like it's going to be a really fun fight. And if it's on the feet, these two are a couple of wild strikers, so. Oh, Dennis Bermudez going for a guillotine. This looks deep. Dennis Bermudez has a couple of guillotine choke submission wins on his record. And he's about to have a third one as he chokes out Darren Elkins. Luckily for Darren Elkins, it's a real. It's not real. It's simulation, and Dennis Bermudez takes the first fight of the series, 1-0. Let's see if Darren Elkins can bounce back and even the score at 2 or at 1. Or if Dennis Bermudez can win his second fight and the sweep and the prediction. Second fight. Officiated by Dan Miragliotta. The first 2 fights were both officiated by Mario Yamasaki. No offense to Yamasaki, but Dan Miragliotta is a much more trustworthy referee. And Dennis Bermudez takes Darren Elkins down. Has him in side control. Dennis Bermudez is also pretty close to a title shot. He's going to need a few wins, but he's pretty close. He's got Darren Elkins in another Americana attempt, but he escapes. As I said a few days ago, Dennis Bermudez fought Jimmy Rivera to get into the house. And Jimmy Rivera is to get into the Ultimate Fighter 14 house. And Jimmy Rivera is actually higher in his division than Dennis Bermudez is. But, look at that. Dennis Bermudez knocks out Darren Elkins for the win, for another backflip, and for the sweep. And he gets my prediction. I'm going to say Dennis Bermudez. I'll stick to the third round submission. So, third round submission for Dennis Bermudez. And that's my prediction. We'll see how accurate that is this Saturday when they fight for real at Nassau Coliseum. Anyways, that's it for me. Don't forget to thumbs up this video. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram at UFC Face Swap. And that's it for me. See you guys later.